Get ready to be inspired by the incredible stories of Olympic underdogs who defied the odds. These athletes shocked the world with their unexpected victories, proving that anything is possible. Watch as we share their remarkable journeys that made history. Jess Owens, 1936. One of sports and world history's most momentous moments was Jess Owens' 1936 Berlin Olympics performance. African-American track and field athlete Owens entered a hostile Nazi Germany, where Hitler wanted to use the games to demonstrate Aryan dominance. Owens stayed focused on his goal to compete at the top level and win despite political tension and racial prejudice. Owens dominated while competing. He broke world records in the 100-200 long jump and 4x100-meter relay and won 4 gold medals. His wins disproved Aryan supremacy and weakened Hitler's racism. Owens' triumph transcended sports and spoke out against racism. His Berlin achievements represent boldness, resilience, and sports' ability to confront social norms. Jess Owens' legacy inspires sportsmen and social activists as proof that brilliance transcends race and ethnicity. Wilma Rudolph, 1960. Wilma Rudolph's dedication to Olympic gold is unmatched. Rudolph, born in 1940 in the segregated South, had serious health issues. She had polio as a child, which left her leg weak and in danger of never walking again. Her mom refused to accept doctors' predictions that she would spend her life in a leg brace. Rudolph learned to walk at 12 thanks to her family's persistent support and physical therapy. Rudolph jogged. She became a world-class sprinter in her teens. The 1960 Rome Olympics saw Wilma Rudolph become the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in track and field, winning the 100-200 and 4x100 meters. Her success made her an international star and a symbol of hope for vulnerable people. Rudolph shows that resilience and hard effort can overcome any challenge. Abebe Bikila, 1960. At the 1960 Rome Olympics, Ethiopian outsider Abebe Bikila made headlines. Bikila's story is simple and triumphant. Ethiopia sent him to Rome as a late replacement, and when his sponsor's shoes hurt, Bikila ran the marathon barefoot. This decision defined his Olympic experience and established his legacy. Bikila gracefully won the marathon and set a world record despite wearing improper shoes. He became the first Black African to win an Olympic gold medal and popularized African long-distance running. The legend of Bikila's barefoot sprint symbolizes that true greatness comes from within. His improbable victory inspired generations of African runners and remains one of the greatest Olympic stories. Nadia Comaneci, 1976. A new type of underdog emerged at the 1976 Montreal Olympics, defying expectations and sport constraints. Romanian 14-year-old gymnast Nadia Comaneci stunned the globe. Comaneci showed precision and grace against older, more experienced athletes. Her first Olympic gymnastics perfect 10 made her performance historic. Before that, a perfect score was nearly impossible. However, Comaneci's uneven bar routine won her the first of 7 games perfect 10s. She won 5 medals, including 3 golds, and boosted gymnastic standards. One of the most memorable Olympic moments is Nadia Comaneci's perfect 10, proving that youth and inexperience do not limit excellence. Her accomplishment motivates young athletes worldwide to push their limits. Miracle on Ice, 1980. Perhaps the most famous Olympic underdog story was the Miracle on Ice in a team event. Winter Olympics at Lake Placid, New York, in 1980. Most amateur and college players on the U.S. men's hockey team were not expected to compete with the Soviet Union. 6 of the last 7 Olympic Games were won by the Soviets. Few believed the Herb Brooks-led U.S. squad a chance against the Soviet Union in the semifinals. In a spectacular shock, the Americans beat the Soviets 4-3 in a game that gripped the world. A Cold War emblem of national pride and unity, the win was more than just a hockey win. In the Miracle on Ice that changed Olympic history, the U.S. won gold. The power of belief, teamwork, and the idea that everything is possible when people work together is shown. Eddie the Eagle Edwards, 1988. Eddie the Eagle Edwards' story is of passion and persistence against all circumstances. Edwards, Britain's first Olympic ski jumper in 60 years, faced many hurdles. He had limited money, experience, and borrowed gear to train. He persevered to compete in the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics. Edwards was not a medal contender when he arrived at the Games. He placed last in both competitions. Eddie the Eagle became famous worldwide for his passion and commitment to his Olympic quest, not his performance. His narrative embodies the Olympics' ethos of participation, resilience, and competition over all difficulties. Eddie the Eagle is a popular Olympic character who showed that sometimes the greatest achievements are the fulfillment of aspirations. Derek Redmond, 1992. One of the most moving and inspiring Olympic stories is Derek Redmond's 1992 Barcelona Olympic story. Skilled British sprinter Redmond was predicted to medal in the 400 meters. He reached the semifinals despite ailments and difficulties and was determined to pursue his Olympic dream. Disaster struck halfway through the race. Redmond collapsed after tearing his hamstring. Redmond kept going when most athletes would have quit. Despite excruciating pain, he stood up and hobbled to the finish. Jim Redmond, Redmond's father, rushed through security and ran onto the track to encourage his son as the crowd watched in stunned silence. Arm in arm, father and son crossed the finish line. This was about perseverance, love, and not giving up, not earning a medal. Millions of people worldwide were inspired by Derek Redmond's perseverance. His narrative inspires us to never give up on our dreams, not only finish first. Rulon Gardner, 2000. At the 2000 Sydney Olympics, Rulon Gardner pulled off one of the greatest shocks in wrestling. Gardner faced Alexander Karelin, a Russian wrestling star who had won 3 consecutive Olympic gold medals and had not lost a bout in 13 years. Karelin was nicknamed the Russian Bear for his power and domination in the sport. Karelin was considered unbeatable, and Gardner was a huge underdog. However, Gardner defeated Karelin 1-0 in one of the greatest Olympic upsets. Gardner's victory was a monument to persistence, belief, and the refusal to be intimidated by enormous odds. Underdogs can perform the impossible in the Olympics, as shown by his victory. When you believe in yourself, no obstacle is too great, as Rulon Gardner showed athletes and non-athletes. Eric the Eel Moussambani, 2000. Eric Moussambani from Equatorial Guinea's story was one of the most touching at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Moussambani, known as Eric the Eel, focused on perseverance and competition rather than medals. Moussambani learned to swim 8 months before the Games and had never swum in an Olympic-sized pool before coming in Sydney. He learned to swim in a hotel pool without a coach because his home nation had no training facilities. Moussambani's 100-meter freestyle performance wasn't great. He finished over a minute behind the pack due to his struggles. The crowd cheered him on after seeing his commitment to finish. When Moussambani approached the final meters, the entire crowd stood, praising him. Eric the Eel became a global icon of Olympic zeal, perseverance, and daring despite not winning a medal. His narrative shows that true success is not necessarily triumph, but the commitment to strive and finish what you start. Stephen Bradbury, 2002. Stephen Bradbury's gold medal win at the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics is one of the most extraordinary and improbable victories in Olympic history. Bradbury, an Australian speed skater, was considered an outsider with little chance of winning a medal in the 1,000-meter event. His journey to the Olympics had been filled with setbacks, including a life-threatening injury that nearly ended his career. Despite the odds, Bradbury persevered, making it to the final race. In the final, Bradbury found himself trailing behind the frontrunners, but in a dramatic twist, all of the leading skaters collided and fell just before the finish line. Bradbury, who had been well behind, skated past the fallen competitors and crossed the finish line first, winning the gold medal. His victory became known as the last man standing win, symbolizing the idea that persistence and patience can lead to success, even in the most unlikely circumstances. Bradbury's gold medal win is a reminder that in sports, as in life, anything can happen, and it's never over until it's over. We appreciate you being here. If these Olympic underdog stories touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. More amazing sports stories are coming your way, so stay connected. Take care, fellows.